So the first step to this research project, once all the data was collected and I knew where I was going with it, I had to ask for consent from our principal, as well as the parents and guardians of the students and the students as well. Once I received that consent, I knew which students I could collect data from and which ones I had to discard. Now, once I had the consent, I was able to start the lessons as I normally would. In the fall semester, I taught the classes. I did assign some homework, but it wasn't mandatory. Every day I would go over the questions as I normally would. There were some questions for those that did it. Some just wanted to see the problems because they hadn't attempted the homework, but they were curious. And at the end of the unit, I gave the Chapter 1 assessment and recorded the grades. Where it differed a little bit with Semester 2, it was the same process of issuing out the consent and receiving those. I gave the same notes. It ended up being the same assessment, but every single night I assigned homework. The homework ranged from 3 or 4 problems, or maybe as much as 10 to 12 problems, depending on the difficulty of the content we were learning. And I would collect the homework every single day, and I would go through it and I would mark what was correct and what was incorrect. If it was incorrect, I would make notes as to where people made mistakes. And the next day I would hand it back and it would be graded. We would also go over the homework after I had collected it. So students were to write down what problems they wanted help with. I was collecting the homework, then we'd go over it, so there was no issue with students changing their homework grades, so that I knew exactly what they had completed and how they had done it, and then they received the grade the next day and the feedback that was needed. At the end of the unit, they took the same test that Semester 1 had taken, and the grades were compared. After the first unit assessment, I was able to give them a survey. That survey asked them 6 questions that revolved around homework and how they felt about it, if they felt that it was impactful, the benefit of it, things that would help them improve in the future. And with those, I was able to give the responses a number from 1 to 4, 1 being the most negative outcome and 4 being the most positive outcome. And then from there, each question I was able to break down and compare the 2 classes.